With a short prayer of appreciation.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, be with us today as we deliberate the business of the county. Help us, Lord, to keep in mind the best interests of all the county residents, Lord. Help us to just be mindful of your will and your wishes as we go about the business of the county. Ask all these things, Lord, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Steve.
All right. Okay. Have we had a chance to look at the minutes from July 30th, 2024?
I have. I make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion carries to approve the minutes from July 30th. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, Tony, what do you have for us today? Oh, approve that. One second here.
Sorry, bothering. Okay, first I have the Allied Weekly Health Insurance claims. Those are in the amount of $17,254.51, all medical. And I did verify the claimants.
All right,
What's that middle part go to, Tony, or
What's that?
what's that middle part, 17, that
Read that again, would you?
17,254,
54?
51 cents.
Guys, I missed the middle.
I'd accept a motion to approve after you've had a chance to look at that.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, motion carries to approve the allied claim as presented.
I had emailed to all of you the monthly clerk report submitted by Clerk Shelley Bright. If you want to.
Okay, have you had a chance to take a look at that?
Make a motion to accept that report.
Second.
Okay, motion and second to enter the clerk's report into record.
Okay. And I have the quarterly payment to USI Insurance Services. Their work with the insurance, and that is in the amount of $9,000.
Okay, any questions on that?
Motion accept.
Okay,
Second.
motion to approve the claim as presented. Motion carries.
They received via email the accounts payable claims. Those are in the amount of $390,892.64. I did note there were some Pume Bridge things. The medical out at the sheriff's department. I mean, quality correctional care was a fairly good size one. So $390,892.64. 892.64.
Make a motion to approve the claims.
Second.
Okay, motion carries to approve the claims as presented.
That is all that I have. I did hand out to you the treasurer's report, which Treasurer Dyer will give later. And I yield my time to Nate, the engineer.
All right, you've been yielded to.
Appreciate that.
Like the yield reference with the highway department, the yield sign.
And we'll just keep it moving forward. Couple of little updates here, small structure inspections. Inspections are proposed to start with a Jansen spawn in about October of this year. They're thinking about a month and a half of actual field inspections. Based on meeting with Ethan last week, we should have the system updated well in time for them to start uploading that data into our GIS system. So it looks to be a very good and robust system with a lot of good data for it. Once that's up and running, I'll show an application of that for you all so you can have like a read-only access to those inspections yourself. So it'll be a tool that we'd be able to work with in-house. Second item here is just some of the small structures for this year. KBL is proposing to install the concrete box across 800 South, about 3/10 of a mile east of 4 East on August 14th. The reason I've got that hard date is they've got a crane that they're going to have to schedule for that box. So that'll be a full closure for about 2 days is what I'm estimating, but they've got a little more time if necessary for that closure. So next Wednesday. Ish Excavating is proposing to install the pipe crossing Salem Road just southeast of 300 East this Friday. So they'll be working on that, and so they'll have that section of road closed. Again, probably going to be a 2-day closure just based on the size of the structure they're going to have to excavate out of there. So, but they're all supposed to be notifying dispatch ahead of any of the closures. Unfortunately, it will start by the delays on some of these. It's going to get into some of the bus routes. They're going to have to contact the schools to make sure that they're aware of any of their route impacts that may come about.
On that Salem Road crossing, is that southeast of 300 East?
It's southeast of that intersection. There's 2 concrete head walls on that. That one's fairly tight corner for that one, if I recall. I'm going to go out and actually, my plan is this afternoon to go out because KBL is out painting a number of these crossings. I left my map of all those locations back at my chair behind me, so, but KBL's got a number of them. They're actually painting out right now the saw cuts that they're going to do for the excavation today. So they're out prepping for cuts on all of those that they have remaining, which is a little over 10 of the small pipes. Next item, Bridge 27, Pickle Road. That's our federal aid project that we have in the works. 4 companies submitted their statement of qualifications. I have copies of their scoring sheets for you all, as well as a printed copy of the applications. I sent you an email with PDFs of those 4 firms and the scoring sheets you can use. If you want to score those after the meeting, certainly I've got printouts you can use to fill those out as a sample. I just need to have those back. Once I've had a chance to tabulate them, I can notify the selected firm and NDOT, make sure that we're in good standing to proceed with negotiation with the selected firm.
Yeah, I looked at those and I thought, well, it'd be nice if you'd go over them with us.
Yep.
To
Absolutely.
help me anyway.
I'll make myself
Understand.
available after the meeting if you'd like to go through that. Make sure that you've got everything that you need.
Good.
And then lastly, this is just kind of color commentary here, a couple pictures for you. Dealing with groundhogs. Brad and I have been out looking at groundhog holes all over the county since I've been here to help assess damages done by these little vermin. They like to dig underneath the approach slabs by the bridges. They like that nice concrete roof over their holes. Typically, the bridges set nice and high so they get a good vantage point of the fields around them. So they seem to love digging around and underneath these bridges. If you turn to page 2, you can see a little bit of the damages that they do when they dig out underneath these concrete. It's kind of like they dig a hole under your garage slab and it causes cracks in the travel lanes. And that's with concrete. When it's asphalt, it just becomes a large suck hole. Just opens a void up in the pavement. So we end up patching and patching holes and they keep digging away. So one of the problems that we have is just trying to assess the holes because they'll dig down and then they'll kick back up. So other than sticking your arm into the groundhog hole to try to find out the next 2 or 3 feet of it, we went ahead and acquired a little endoscope, kind of simple sewer camera technology. It's just LED lights on the end of it. It'll connect to the iPhone and there's 16 feet of cable with this, so I can fish this through some of these voids just to see how much of the hole is in.
You're not gonna be doing any medical procedures?
Nope. I'm not offering either, so.
Don't bend over, Sam.
No. I know, but the camera itself, for what it's worth, was only $30. Some of the offers are anything from ground penetrating radar to figure out the size of the voids that we're dealing with. It's just a way for us to do estimation of the amount of damage and then the amount of material when we try to do repairs. And so that's kind of what we're doing is for some early assessments. Other than trying to guess based on the size of the spoil pile that they dig out from on the road or under those bridge approaches, this is one of the quick and easy ways we think to try to test that out. And so the camera comes with LED lights on it, so we'll just fish that through a PVC pipe in those voids and then start snapping some pictures with it.
Well, hopefully that works. I mean, if that works, that's gonna be a pretty economical way to do some inspection for those holes.
Yes, right now, we just see them and flag them as there's groundhogs in the area, but knowing how to do the repair and how much material and what we're gonna have to do, it's cheaper than bringing a crew out to pour a concrete slab to then find the void and then schedule other materials, flowable fill, the like, to try to fill these voids in.
Is that typically how you do it now? You core drill, find the voids, fill the voids? I mean, when you've got groundhog damage,
Right now, what's typically been done is you see the voids and they'll do a strip footing along the sides. They'll dig the side of the slab out and then pour flowable fill on the edges. But you can't necessarily know how far you've got to go into those slabs. So pouring into those areas and then pouring flowable fill underneath that pavement slab would be a better method. And we just stop along those edges because that's where you see that damage. So I'm hoping to come up with a better standard procedure for us. Based on the investigation, I want to see how bad these voids are before we end up tearing the whole slab out. For perspective, the pictures that you're seeing here are from Bridge 1, I think it says 150 or 58 or 155. It's one of the two structures that we have. This one's on 11th South, east of Geneva. Well, that's been notorious. We've had 3 and 4 ground hole tunnels. They're coming in and going back out on the sides. Part of that project's rehab of the deck due to the buggy damage is also to replace the approach slabs because of the damage done, those approach slabs.
Is there any appetite or any opportunity for managing the problem being the groundhogs, or what's that all about?
No, they don't ask for permits. I mean, so they just want to move in. And when
I've shot
my
a lot
last
of them.
8
I don't know
years,
about you, but it
I
solves
know
the problem.
the nickel long rifle shots maybe, but I'm not going to be encouraging people to be shooting across the highways.
No, we can't do that.
And I can't put bounties on them. So there's a number of different things that we're trying to look at from details for new construction. So if we're doing new construction, install what's called like a rat wall, an 18-inch rat wall that turn down on the footers so that when they dig and hit that wall, they end up digging down and get discouraged and then move on. Kind of making the areas not so appetizing for them to live. One thing that I'm considering with soil water conservation is to talk about doing different plantings that would discourage them because they don't like the smell of the plants. But many of those plants are invasive, and so I'm expecting that farmers will be quite mad if I start planting noxious plants out by the bridges. So there's got to be some sort of a happy medium between new construction details, mitigation when we find it, and then how do we fix the holes, and then is that fixing going to work? But for example, on this bridge, I probably have $100,000 in slab repair on that bridge alone.
Yeah.
And that was directly related to the damage that the groundhogs were able to do over a multi-year period. So just for perspective, it's certainly something that I want to put some attention to as far as how we identify the issue, come up with some plans, and if anybody's got some solutions, but as for the citizens around them, certainly I would encourage them to assist us
Any
in
opportunity
that.
to engage an exterminator or
Yeah.
something that would,
Correct.
again, back to
All of those things.
solving
One, I
the
wanna-
problem.
Yeah, I want to figure out the depth and limits of the problem that I'm going to deal with before I start promoting publicly, hey, this mass extinction process. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I
we'll
think
start
we
with
want
what
that.
we've got, and I'll start with those.
I'm just wondering if there's, among your other cohorts, if somebody's come up with a better plan or an opportunity to.
I'll get deputized by the sheriff and we'll start working on something. So I'm sure he'll work with me on that. But
I'm just waiting to see what headline Eric puts to this.
I know, I gave him some pictures to work with today, so I'm sure he'll ask for some more, but yeah, no, it is a financial burden to the county.
Yeah.
The damages that they're allowed to do unattended, and we're gonna have to do some things from a detail standpoint for new construction to mitigate it. But we're just gonna start trying to assess the problem, and $30 seems like a pretty low cost for it.
Well, I'll be curious to see how that
Yep.
pans out.
Absolutely. Well, we'll test it out, but thanks to the guys for bringing up some low-cost options. So, appreciate it.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you, Nate. Okay, Brad and Paul? How we doing today? Good.
So good morning. Just have a few things today. Today's the day we open up single axle truck chassis bids. And we do have one representative here from Selkie International, Brock Selkie.
Thank you.
You want one, you can just whenever.
And I mean, we could go on and talk about the groundhogs, but, yeah, we tried to assist Nate and we've came up with multiple ideas, but for some reason they don't seem safe. Not sure why.
Well, maybe we could trap and relocate the wells tonight.
That'd be all right. But I will say our guys too, if they see them along the roads, our guys will go out, fill them with usually the big rock.
Yeah.
And then we'll put smaller rock and then spray them with some kind of oil.
Sure.
And some of them are persistent though.
Yeah.
All right, the first one we have is from Stoops Freightliner Quality Trailer of Fort Wayne. Freightliner. First one is for a Freightliner. Right there, big. Yep, we have it in there, non-collusion. The price, their quote is $109,280. $109,280.
Did you say that was Stoops or something?
Yes, that is Stoops Freightliner,
And that was 109.
109,280.
Thank you.
The next one we have is also from Stoops, and this is for a Western Star. Next one. Yep, you got it. And I have the non-collusion for that one also. And their quote for the Western Star is $126,500. $126,500. The next one is from Selking International out of Decatur. Oh, and there's their non-collusion. Their quote is $105,833.43. $105,833.43.
Is there a brand name for the truck?
International. Yep. So with your guys' permission, we take them under advisement until next.
I'll make that motion. Second. Okay, motion carries to take these three bids under advisement till next year.
So the only other couple things we have are informational. Brooks Paving has started our paving projects, part of the community crossings and the other couple roads that we had it listed. So they're starting the paving, which we were very happy. It's normally a little later in the year when they get there, so we're excited they're here early this year and get them done. So.
Very good.
And then the other bit of information is our chip and seal, our oil truck, the distributor that sprays the oil down, which we've been struggling with this year, having issues, is down again. And it got to the point where we replaced some parts that the company recommended, and it is now up at the dealership, and they're gonna take a look at it.
Is that an old truck or is that
10 years old. And the body is 10 years old, but the truck chassis, what year is that? It's actually older because what they did the last time They got a new body and put it on the old truck.
So where's the problem, in the chassis? or
It's in the chassis. I mean, the truck's giving us a little bit of problems too, but now that it's in the back part that does all the
Some of
work,
the spray bar.
the spray bar and all that, it's giving us fits. So we should know maybe by the end of the day, the next couple of days, what they're thinking time frame wise. We're hoping it's a quick fix, but if not, we're gonna look into options of hiring a company to come in and spray the oil so we can get our chip seal going.
Oh, is this really putting us behind?
Yes,
Because I noticed the last couple of weeks, we haven't got anything done, basically.
no, it's actually,
We're working on other stuff that we wouldn't normally have
Yeah.
time. We should have been finishing chip seal by now.
yeah, and we only got 5 miles done.
Yeah, about
We
5.
got 5 miles done now because it keeps giving us problems breaking down. So I want to give you a heads up that if they're telling us it's going to be 2 weeks, we're going to look into another option of hiring somebody to come spray it or possibly talking to the surrounding county, seeing if they're done. We can work out a deal with them. And also to go along with all this, so see what they're going to get into with this. You know, now that the body is 10 years old, the chassis is probably 20 years old, we might be revising our equipment schedule. So just as a heads up, we don't know yet for sure. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to get going on it and it's not cooperating.
Well, as long as, we're able to, when you do it, so it's done.
Yeah.
With plenty of material and plenty of,
Correct.
you know.
Yeah, and the time frame.
So we have a good end result.
There you go, exactly. Time frame before it gets cold.
How many miles are we still wanting to do?
72?
72.
Yeah,
Roughly.
minus the 5, yeah, 72 left to go.
Yeah.
We gotta keep in mind our temperatures and stuff, because if we get too cold, then it won't stick.
Yeah.
Right.
We're kind of behind the 8 ball right now.
Well, we'll see once, if, like you say, some of the surrounding counties, if they're caught up to where
Yeah.
you could
Yep.
swap equipment.
So hopefully we'll find out in the next couple of days and we'll know which direction we're going from there. So, yeah. That's it.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Hey Brad, how many miles of paving by Brooks we done? How many miles?
That was it. 8 points. So, yeah.
That's a figure.
Yeah, I pointed that out too.
You have.
Over chips.
I'm not ready to delay it. We advertised it, God damn it. It's this thing around long enough. I think, you guys, that's my motion. That's my preference. I'm tired of it.
Do we have any reasons? All right. Ed, did you have a report for us?
I do.
Let Clayton tell us why we need to.
Morning.
You have already received from Tony the report that I turned in, the county treasurer's monthly report. And it's all there, everything balances, and I just need an official stamp of approval from you gentlemen.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and second to enter your report into record. And-
Cool. About as quick and easy as it's ever been. Thank you.
Yeah.
Doing the bank reconciliation report, we've had a couple of bonds that came due, small bonds. These are some of the last ones that Tom had during his administration. And so we're down to 17 bonds, and I still have 4 CDs out. So my investment portfolio is down just a little bit. The bonds are just not the best thing for me to be investing in right now. I'm doing better just in the actual savings accounts as far as interest rise. It's topsy-turvy and we're still waiting on the election and a lot of different variables, but right now the bonds are not the best thing for me to come into. May do some more with CDs, but right now I'm kind of holding back on bonds until some interest rate comes up there a little bit. Just a heads up on that. Of course, in January, we'll have our financial committee report. We'll go over all that in detail. Taxes, we're over 99%. That's doing real well. We're getting ready for the fall collections. And then on our tax sale, we're still at 20 on the list. I'm suggesting that we'll probably have maybe down to a dozen, perhaps 10 by the time the actual tax sale comes in. October 31st. One of those properties is the one on Pickway Road, the ID properties that we have not got that title back yet. It needs to be signed by the judge to where you folks can take it into possession. And we do not have that yet. We still have plenty of time, but just as a heads up, we need to get that done.
And where'd you say the holdup is at on that?
Waiting for Judge Kukohan to sign it.
Yeah.
He's normally real good about it. We just need to,
We could give him a call and get him over here.
Yeah.
you call him.
He's usually down at the coffee shop.
We could maybe do a little easier than that. Other than that, everything's rolling real well, and I do want to let you know that last night I had a chance to stop and visit with Rex Moore for about a half hour. And he has a letter he'd like me to read next week. I'm going to do so. But he's in good spirits. He was actually working. He's a tax preparer and private, and he had a desk full of papers all over the place. He's wanting to get his tax customers all taken care of and finalized so they can move on with somebody else. But he's in good spirits. We had a nice chat.
It's good. Thanks for stopping.
Well, good. He's a very determined man.
Yes, he is.
Hardworking, determined, loyal. He loves the county. He's loved his work in the county government, so.
He did say one of the hardest things he ever had to do was to come to the conclusion to resign his post midterm. He wanted to work the entire term, and it's just his health is not allowing him.
Well, he was the senior commissioner when Steve Kuhn and I came on our first term, and so, he is very well respected as a mentor, and so I always appreciated that too, so.
Me as well, and the treasurer, he was treasurer prior to Tom Zuckerberg, so, I got to know him real well through that, and then, of course, he helped Tom along the way, and he and I have talked quite a bit as well, so. Anyway.
Good.
Well, I
been a nice
appreciate the
visit.
update.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Okay, Jess, did you have anything for us?
Hello.
Hey, good morning.
So I'm seeking permission to purchase a new vehicle for the health department, for our clinic and our school health liaison to use for their outreach within the community, mobile clinics, and for our school health liaison to visit the schools with. Right now, we pay mileage for personal vehicles.
So is this replacing an existing vehicle?
This one would not, but we would also like to replace one of the existing vehicles. It's a 2014 Traverse, and it is showing its age for sure. So it's starting to nickel and dime us with things, and we've got a good trade-in quote for it. So we're looking to trade that one in on a new and also purchase another new, all with state money.
Where does this fall within your budget?
It'll come from our one of it will come from our Health First Indiana money to pay for the school health and the clinic. And then the other one will be from our state tobacco settlement grant, which is what the Traverse was initially purchased out of. We would trade that in and get a new Explorer.
So the new vehicle, would that be a take-home vehicle or would that stay here?
The one of them would be a take-home.
Okay.
Yes.
So have you looked at that comparative wise as far as maintaining a vehicle and owning it versus paying mileage? Or as far as the advantages of moving to a county-owned vehicle?
Yeah, I think that at least from what we can tell, it's going to be pretty equivalent, but we would actually be having someone else who drives their own vehicle use the one vehicle for other occasions, so that would eliminate paying them mileage as well.
What do you guys think?
Jesse, did you say both vehicles were using state?
Yeah, one would be the HFI money, and then the other one would be like the 1168 or 1206, the tobacco settlement money.
Still need quotes.
Jessica, bring us up to speed on the whole Health First Indiana, how you're progressing with that. I know that was a lot of money that landed in our lap. How is that going?
Yeah.
I don't know that I have a problem at all with putting a vehicle out there. I think the more we're in the public with a branded vehicle that says that we're out there doing our thing and your representatives are out there in the schools and it's a face and a vehicle of ours in the county that I think is helpful. Just if you don't mind, just to quickly tell me how that's going.
Sure. So we've been doing quite a bit with those monies. Right now it funds our school health liaison, our preparedness coordinator, and one of our nurses. We've done several outreach programs with the school health liaison dealing with safety and mental health in the southern part of the county because there are not many programs in the southern part of the county. A lot of them are focused in Decatur. We're working on partnering with the hospital. We almost have our MOUs finalized with them for providing additional testing and services that we're not able to provide at the department. We're looking at potentially, I know you're familiar, moving to one of the hospital buildings in order to better refer people to that sort of care. Adams County does not have a, I don't know what you call them, like a post for a child car seat safety technician. So if you look on one of the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute's website, Adams County doesn't have a registered location to go for car seat checks. So we're looking at partnering with them to get on that list. Their new grant period starts September. So we've been in talks with them just now to actually be put on their list so that people know that we are a location that they can come to get their car seats checked. And we also, with partnering with them, can provide car seats to people who cannot purchase them themselves.
I know you weren't expecting to provide a report
I'm
on
trying
Health
to
First
think.
Indiana, but if you would, I would love to hear at some future meeting,
Absolutely.
because again, that was a big initiative by the state. We got a lot of money to provide some really neat, I thought, additional services your department was able to provide. I'd love to hear
Sure.
how that's going and where that money is being spent and how our county health situation has been improved by use of those taxpayer
And
dollars.
especially because the 2025 budget will be almost double what it is for 24.
Yeah,
there's
so-
a lot more funds that
Yeah,
that can be pushed our way.
help me understand
Absolutely.
your success with that program. That would be
Absolutely.
great.
Well, and by us opting in, which all 92 counties throughout the state have opted in, we did that based on a recommendation from the health officer in the health department. And so, I know it's kind of been a challenge for the health department to budget accordingly for 2025. So, but yeah, with working in hand with the hospital as far as an opportunity for more space, more accessible space, that's going to give you some opportunity for both sides of the health department, your side and the clinical side, both, I think.
Mhm.
For better access for the public and better space for you to operate.
And then to be able to potentially offer like outside of regular business hours for vaccinations and birth certificates and death certificates, that sort of thing, being in a different building and being able to be open past 4:00 on certain days to have that available to people. And we've also started doing, but we're offering vaccine for people who do have insurance. In the past, we weren't able to do that. We're still only doing children, but we're starting to slowly expand to adults as well. So we're offering more vaccines with having a more accessible location and more accessible hours. I think it will reach a lot more people.
Well, and even you're probably doing additional services on the inspection side too, with increased volume, increased help.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll keep things moving in the building process.
Just overall, yeah. It's been kind of overwhelming to have all of it all at once, try to pick and choose which things we want to focus on right off the bat and then try to incorporate everything.
And especially not really having a guarantee that you're going to have that money on an ongoing basis. You've got to plan
Yes,
as if that money might disappear too.
right. From every conversation we've had, and I know you, Stan was in on the meeting with Dr. Weaver last month, that they sound pretty confident that it will at least continue this next cycle. I know you asked the question specifically. So-
Yeah, well, and it always depends on, with next year being a budget session, it always depends on, the state legislature for sure.
And I think obviously part of that is how effective the dollars were used. So
Mhm.
if you could help me understand how that's gone for us,
Yeah,
that'd
I
be
know
great.
that we've started partnering with Hope Clinic and Unfailing Love Clinic to try to reach some of the Amish population as
Good.
well, because they're more comfortable, it seems they're more
Sure.
comfortable going to those locations. than the
Absolutely.
hospitals, so.
Understood.
We do have a health department meeting tomorrow morning, and I think we have all of our slots filled. All of our appointments to the health department, I think are.
Yes, we
Are-
have
are
a full
filled,
health
so-
board now.
Yeah, so we have a full health board.
Back to your original question, I don't have a problem with the vehicle. I'm not sure what our policy is on take-home vehicles and however our procedure is or our policy is, as long as we're abiding by that, I'm fine with that.
Is the 214 take-home vehicle now?
No.
Okay. Do we have to have quotes or something?
Yes. So
I have,
Oh, you have quotes?
I was able to get from Mosers and Byrne and Tom Kelly's.
There's two.
So is it under 50 grand? Okay. Yep.
So we can go ahead and,
I think the highest one is 30.
Yeah. I mean, then that falls within the purchasing ordinance, so you're fine to approve it. If she just abides by, I would assume the lower of the two quotes.
That's what we were planning on
Yeah.
going with.
I'll make a motion that we allow the health department to purchase 2 vehicles.
Second.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you,
Thank
Johnson.
Thanks,
And
Jess.
I will
Keep up the
definitely
good
get
work.
it on the agenda.
Yeah, please do.
For
Thanks.
full
All right.
prepared.
And I
Jessica?
apologize for catching you off guard.
How much did we get from HFI? How much money did we get roughly?
For 24,
Yeah, this year.
it was like 404,000. Ish.
Okay, I don't see,
That's originally 18.
Mark Wynn's not here. USI.
Stelli's back there.
CH.
I think Sheila's gonna talk to you about Charles number. Which, I think that's what it was.
Martin
Should request,
It's like Ruts Chilla.
I think so. He's up for 10 foot. Call him and see.
Office.
Jody's here, yeah. Yeah, Jody's on.
And it was all kind of off the cuff too, so that will. Absolutely.
Hey, just checking in on you. You're on our agenda this morning. Yeah, we had 2, items. So where are you at now? Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Oh, yeah, that's all right, so. Thanks, Mark. All right. Bye. He's gonna have Megan come down. So. Good. All right. And Rick's not here in here? Jeez. All right. Shannon, do you know if Jody's coming in?
She's gonna be here. I'm sure she's on the first one. I can call her.
Okay, that's all right. Clayton, did you have anything for us?
Nothing today.
Okay.
Oh, right there's Jody.
There we go.
You want her just to come on up?
Yeah, Shannon, did you want to come up with Jody if we start? All right. We've got Jody Kinsey, our rep from USI. So.
Jody, thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
There.
Come on.
Well, thanks for coming in.
Oh, certainly. Thanks for having me.
So,
So let's get started. I put in front of you the packet for pre-renewal discussions from a budgetary standpoint. So I first wanted to go through in section 1 and review our experience year-to-date through June. And this is the experience information that our underwriters and actuarial folks have based your renewal projection on. So through June of 2024, if you look at the bullet points to the right on the executive summary, the expected claims from our renewal for 2024 through 6 months would have been projected at $920,045. Our actual net paid claims towards our aggregate contract is coming in through June at $847,099. They're on line 3. So we're running at 92.1% of expected claims costs, which is under the projection by $72,946.
good.
June claims were at 78% of expected, so June was a relatively good month. If we took that number and annualized it and said, okay, the next 6 months, if we repeated the exact same level of claims activity, then our claims cost, claims alone, going to our aggregate per employee per year would average out at line 4 of $10,299. That number is down 3.2% from where we ended the year towards our aggregate in 2023. 2023, we ended at 10,640. In 2022, we were at 11,577. So understanding that assumed trend is still pegged anywhere from 7, 8, 9, 10%. If we can stay consistent and keep under where we have been in the past several years, that's a good position relative to trend and forecasting. Our average enrollment, line 7, is very consistent. We're averaging 165 year-to-date through 2024. Last year, ending the year at 163. Next item, large claimant information. We start tracking your claimants when they are at 50% of our individual stop loss. So our individual stop loss level is 55,000, meaning the county funds the first 55,000 of claims on an individual basis. So we start tracking the claimants at 27,500. So far, year to date for 2024, we have 6 individuals tracking. When you look at 2023, we ended the year with 18 total. So large claimant activity is down as well. Claimants exceeding the 55,000 individual stop loss, we have 5 individuals that have exceeded the 55,000, 3 of which have resulted in reinsurance stop loss reimbursements of $68,033. And the last thing to point out on the last bullet in the executive summary and observations, our RX claims are accounting for 39.5% of your total medical spend. USI book of business is averaging 23%. We're going to look at the prudent RX report for year to date. That was the impact and the thing that we put into place starting this year, started really with our second quarter. And then we're going to talk about what Shannon and I are doing moving forward to look at that a little deeper and some other areas to help you with your fiduciary responsibilities as it relates to pharmacy. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Any questions on page 1 of the executive summary?
Very good. So is there anything that we or our employers are doing to help that trend as far as the lower claims and the lower claimants? Or is it just the way it happened to?
Yeah, I think for the most part, it's the way it happens. I think there's a significant benefit to the 3 Rivers Preferred Plus discounts and those individuals that are enrolled in that plan. And we're going to look at that, talk about that a little bit here.
Okay.
So I think that the fact that you've kind of developed your premium strategy geared towards that has helped significantly continue to lower those costs because that is the lowest network discount arrangement in place. So I think that has helped significantly. We've looked at the volume relative to, the employees engaging in their preventive care. We think there's some room there and some opportunities for us to bring forward to the table some potential programs to improve that. Shannon, I think that's really where the next phase between the pharmacy and the improvement in people getting their preventive care, I think are the next two areas where we can help continue to bring that cost down.
Very good.
Okay?
All right.
The next page will show you total costs, and then it'll bring in the full amount that the plan spends, not only in claims towards our aggregate contract, but any additional fixed costs that you're paying and any additional laser liability that you've funded year to date as well. So we'll walk through those numbers from left to right. Again, we're going to start with the claims for 2024 year to date, 6 months. Pulled from the executive summary we just mentioned was the 165 employees enrolled. The expected claims that it was at 920,045. Our gross medical claims of 612, gross RX of 399. We back out the amount that stop loss reinsurance carrier has funded. And then for that purpose, we also back out what you funded in additional laser liability. And again, laser liability are those claimants that had a higher risk that the reinsurance carrier at renewal put a higher than 55,000 spec on. And you still get towards your aggregate that first 55, but any of that differential in between does not go towards your aggregate. So we back that out to get our 847, but then we want to show you what your true total costs are. So we add in the administrative fee, $36,379, and that's what you're paying to have the whole plan administered, your network discounts, allied to administer TPA fees, all of those things associated with that bucket roll into your admin fee. And then add in your stop loss premiums, $383,622. Get your total fixed cost of $420,002. We add that to the $847.99. And then again, add back in that laser liability that we'll see on the next page of $97,554 to give us what your true spend year to date has been. That would be $1,364,654. Keep in mind that doesn't account for any employee premium contributions. This is just total spend relative to claims and your fixed cost. Again, bottom right, if we were to say, let's annualize that, develop a per employee per year number, where would we end the year if we continued along this same path? 16,592, bottom right, would be our total spend, all in, average on a per employee per year basis, which would be down 5% from where we ended the year in 2023 at 17,000.
And that's just because of the lower claims.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Steve, I'm counting on you for any questions. You're an insurance guru.
She's doing a good job. Just keep going.
Okay. The next page, really, again, the only thing I wanted to point out, this breaks it down month by month. The one thing I wanted to point out that I had been referring to is in that light gray other column, column V, and that's the added exposure to the plan that you've spent between an individual's $55,000 and what laser liability was put in place at renewal. And your spend so far year to date on those claimants outside of the 55 is $97,554. So that we want to back out to show what's going towards your aggregate because it doesn't apply, and then we want to put it back in because it truly was spent in money that the government, the county funds funded for. And then the last page in this section is just de-identifying information relative to those 5 large claimants that I mentioned. Again, we're start tracking at $27,500, which is half of your $55,000 funding liability. You can see there the laser column, first person at 225,000 funding liability. So far, year to date, you've funded 129,000 of that. So we're still under your required funding liability. To the reinsurance carrier, again, your total spend is 97,000. Reinsurance carrier would be on the hook for 55,000 and above, so they've funded 42,000 of that claim. Number 3, 230 is your liability. That's at 78,000, so no reinsurance funding yet at this time. And then 4 and 5 has a small amount of refunding from reinsurance carrier or funding. And again, the total reinsurance on the risk of that 165,000 was 68,033. Significantly
Good.
under so far where our laser liability was pegged at renewal.
Very good.
Okay, any questions on that?
Not really. If at any point as we go through this, if you're seeing, or Shannon, if you're seeing things that we need to adjust, change, do different, feel free to speak up.
Okay. Section 2 then is having our actuarial and underwriting team who do nothing but work with the numbers day in and day out. My underwriter, the guy that is on our group and tag teams with me, actually used to be an underwriter for Anthem, so he has long-term experience in the underwriting field. What they do for us and for you from a renewal budgetary status is give us a mid-year renewal projection. If they were underwriting your group based upon your actual claims experience, what would that renewal look like? So they pulled the underwriting and the claims from July 2023 through June of 2024. Now, again, keep in mind, we've got a couple more months to go. Large claimant information can pop up and change as it relates to both, the claims risk, the specific premium risk, as well as any laser liability. But this is the position that we would sit as of today if we were to underwrite the group. They've used 10% trend for the purposes of the illustration, which is a little bit above where we're seeing it today, but for ease of simplicity and for having a little bit of leeway there, they've used 10%. It's totally based upon your claims. Based upon where we're seeing things today, the claims liability itself, they're expecting a little bit of a decrease in the expected claims cost. They're projecting 9% of an expected claims liability decrease, which would represent a decrease of 171,000. Administrative expenses, they're expecting a little bit of an increase of 10%, which would represent 5,223 based upon your enrolled numbers. The premium itself.
Does that increase because of the stop loss coverage?
That increases the admin only because of the TPA maybe having additional. We're seeing them raise it year after year, $1, Stan, $1.50. Sometimes network goes up 25 cents, 75 cents. So that particular one is the administration alone.
Okay.
The next item, great question, is the specific stop loss premium increase. And that's what we're paid for our reinsurance, to buy that protection on an individual basis and a maximum cost basis. That projection is at 15%. And again, we're working with Shannon now to start marketing. We'll leverage, we'll look at other reinsurance carriers. We'll be ready to be at the table to leverage that for you.
Other than Allied?
Other than Allied, not changing Allied as the TPA, but the reinsurance. So Allied will market the reinsurance, which is what underlies your plan, right, to protect you guys, as well as USI will market it. So we'll have a good, probably 7, 8, 9, if not a few more carriers to look at your specific group and come back to the table to us and say, based upon where they would put the risk, this is what they would look like.
Very
Can give
good.
us leverage with the incumbent, or we could find, something out there that would be in a better position. But they're projecting 15% on the stop loss, and 5% on the aggregate stop loss premium, which is covering the group as a whole. So all in, I think the last 2 points of that conversation, total fixed cost, which is what you're going to pay, that's that monthly invoice. They would expect an increase of about about 14.42%, which would represent 118,727. But if you blend that with the expected decrease in the claims liability, they really would be projecting a small decrease in your cost of 1.99%, which would represent
Well,
53,000.
Hopefully our claims trend will continue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and their recommendation really, based upon that so far, would be a neutral budget. You know, they wouldn't take it down necessarily, but it would be a good position for us to be starting negotiations. Okay? Next page is just the numbers with all of that were pulled from the executive summary. If there are no questions on the renewal development, then let's flip to tab 3, which continues the conversation relative to what if we were to put in a high deductible health plan / health savings account benefit program. The first page you see is if we were to do it and set it beside your current plan, modeling a $3,500 deductible. And if we had 10% participation or 17 employees migrate to that high deductible qualified plan, running those claims through the model, you would see expected claim savings of $21,000. Minimal dollars and cents saved to the plan.
So even moving to a high deductible for the employee is not a huge advantage
I'll
for.
tell you what, Stan, I
for the county.
think that conversation's starting to flip for a couple of reasons. They're not seeing the plan savings, which was originally thought behind the HSA. And what we are seeing materialize is people aren't getting the care they need. So instead of getting care up front, getting your minor things taken care of, they're waiting until a situation has gotten much worse, much more chronic, and then getting their care, which escalates the cost. So the cost savings is not projected to what the actuaries and underwriters have looked at it in the past.
Yeah.
Also, I feel that if you didn't seed any money or make any contributions to the plan, it would be difficult to structure your premium and those benefits to make it advantageous for your employees, unless they truly believed in the tax savings opportunity there. There really wouldn't be much advantage for employees to consider that migration. And I believe 10-15% your first year, if there wasn't a significant deposit made, is even pretty aggressive at that.
All right. So moving past that as we get into 50%.
Yeah, we've just illustrated it with a much higher participation level. If you had half your people, which again, it would be very difficult to get.
And when you talk about 50 and 100% participation, that's their contribution.
No, so I'm glad you asked that. So when we're talking about 50%, we're saying is if you decided to offer that plan, then half of your 160 employees move to that plan, or 84 of them. Again, you would have to structure significant differences for you to ever get there. And then the 100% is to say, if we did away with what we had today and fully replaced it with a high qualified HSA plan, that's what our expected savings would be. And again, I think even with that, I think we've got other opportunities for cost savings measures.
And then we'd see employees move away from preventative care and
Right. And this,
Ongoing care,
none of
right.
these three models even take into consideration a contribution to an HSA
Right.
on behalf of the county. So your savings would go down from these numbers if the county decided to contribute to an employee's HSA.
so I think we just need to stay away from
I think we continue to talk about it year in and year out. We continue to report back to you if something different changes. But I think as of now, it does not feel like it's a model that would gain you anything relative to employee retention, recruitment, or cost control.
Right. All right. Very
Okay.
good. We'll move past that.
All right. Section 4. We talked a little bit last year about the network situation, right? So right now, as it stands, we have 3 different network options for employees. 2 of them are Lutheran-driven networks. We've got the Lutheran Preferred, and then we've got 3 Rivers Preferred. Currently, in the Lutheran Preferred, as of the time these reports were pulled, which was 6/30/2024, We had 12 individuals in Lutheran Preferred. We had 121 in Three Rivers Preferred. The reason we're bringing this to the table and for a topic of discussion is what both your employees are gaining and you as the steward of the plan are gaining in discounts when they're using those Lutheran providers. The top represents the savings for those Lutheran Preferred contracts that are in place. You can see even in Lutheran-owned hospitals, inpatient and outpatient, under the Lutheran Preferred, they're getting a 46% discount on average. Those same owned facilities of Lutherans under Three Rivers Preferred, because of the strength of that discount that's in place, is averaging 83%.
Wow. Is that the way you present that to new employees and other?
Yeah, so when we talk about the premium differentials between the three networks, that's one of the reasons that I explained
Yeah.
why.
Good.
And then the average overall, you can see again with Lutheran Preferred is 29% and Three Rivers Preferred 63%. So we looked at this last year. We wanted to look at it again this year. We've identified it, again, at the time Shannon and I sat down originally and started talking about this, we identified 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 individuals still in that platform, most of which reside Decatur, Bern, and the surrounding area. So we went a step further and said, okay, so what providers are they using?
So the Three Rivers Preferred also includes our local hospital.
It does. It
And
does.
Lutheran Preferred Savings, does that also include our
It
local?
includes your local hospital, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Adams Health Network is in
Adams
all
Health.
three
All
networks.
three,
Yeah.
yes. So what we're talking about is has nothing to do with any disruption there. So we then asked Lutheran to provide us what providers are people seeing that are in the Lutheran Preferred Network that would not be in the Three Rivers Preferred Network. And there was a total of 11, representing only like $22,000 of claims. So we're going one step further to see, can we identify who those people are? A few of the providers were Ohio providers. Can we identify who they are, see if they're still in the enrolled membership here? And then again, Shannon did a great job last open enrollment of educating, talking with those employees about what their options are and the fact that Three Rivers is still a Lutheran network,
Yeah.
to see if we can't get that migration. We really would like to be able to find a way to get to alleviate the top level if there's not the disruption.
Very good.
Okay?
Thank you, Shannon, for helping to educate employees onto the best route there.
Yeah. And then the next one is just the overall Parkview. Again, we've got less membership in there, but their average discounts is coming in at 37%.
Okay.
And I am in discussions with them about what, if anything, we can do for that.
Parkview's very proud of themselves.
Parkview is, I'm going to refrain, I'm probably on camera and recorded. I'm going to refrain from commenting on that, Stan. I'll talk to you in the hall. Okay.
All right.
Two more things for topic of discussion today. Again, this year, January 1, 2024, we approved the implementation of the Prudent RX. It didn't get rolled out until approximately April, but we are starting to see the improvement and increase in the total savings. So far through June, the total net savings to the plan was $10,703. We had 7 utilizers within that demographic. So we intend to continue to see what the Prudent RX position has meant to the plan. What we do want to continue to do, however, outside of that is investigate what our other options are. And I'll kind of tell you real briefly why. The first 2 cases have been taken to litigation, one of which has already lost, and that was Johnson & Johnson. The next one, which just hit the news in the last 2 days, was Wells Fargo. And it's all around the fiduciary responsibility of a plan in managing the pharmacy costs, right? It's no different than a 401k, 403b. You have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that you've got the best potential thing in position that isn't harming your employees from a financial standpoint. Pharmacy is the latest trend for that. So what Shannon and I have done, and we have a call again next week to take that next step further, is look at a vendor of what that could look like relative to cost savings for the plan, which means two things: cost savings to your employees and healthier outcomes for them individually. We're looking at a couple of quick things: a diabetes management program, which would help your employees live healthier lifestyle, again, with keeping any cost barriers out of that. We're looking in the data we originally looked at, there was about 39 members currently on some type of diabetes medication, and the actual estimated total spend, medical and pharmacy, was in excess of $600,000. So how can we help them with two things? Manage that, manage the costs, and manage a healthier outcome. The pharmacy program that we're looking at has a great thing in place for that. Again, we've looked at what savings that would mean, and we, after our call next week, would be coming back to the table to talk to you about what that could look like. We're not talking about taking pharmacies away from people, quite opposite. It's still your main, they can still go to the CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, all of those places to get their pharmacy. We're just talking about would it make sense from a stewardship standpoint, instead of using our current platform, to move that to a different vendor and helping them both from a service aspect, navigate the plan, again, healthier outcomes, lower cost. Does that make more sense? And then we'll be back to the table to you for that. That's the next step under pharmacy that we want to discuss.
Well, I appreciate you looking at that other option as far as what's going to serve our employees.
And again, Stan,
Better, yeah.
it gives us our fiduciary, we're not just checking the box, because there is some things there to talk about and discuss, but it also shows that we are taking our fiduciary responsibility very seriously and doing what's in the best interest of not
Very
only the
good.
management of the plan, but your employees.
Very good.
And then the last one, we'll come back to the table with more information on that, I think can help us control our costs and bend your trends long-term. And that's some type of a physician engagement, wellness type platform. And Shannon and I have some things that we want to vet for that first a little bit further before we come back and talk more about that. But those are pharmacy and physician engagement / wellness initiatives are really the next two areas that we have been digging into and want to continue, and we'll report back with more.
Good, very good. Yeah, I appreciate you looking at that. I think we've always, taken pride in the benefits that we offer to our employees, and that's a significant reward for what they do for us. So
Absolutely.
we want to maintain that as a good service for them.
And you should be proud of the benefits. We looked at the benchmarking relative to, kind of where you're measuring up against other programs too, and you should be proud of the benefits and what is offered for employees here.
Good. Thank you very much.
All
I
right.
appreciate that.
Thanks, Judy.
All right.
Thank you.
You bet.
Forwarded you an email from Mark Wyman. Response to you, sir.
Oh, he's not coming.
Or Megan.
Where's Megan?
Mark just emailed and said it wasn't him on the agenda, that's supposed to be Mark. Well, I don't know if she's coming in.
Well, I
Regardless,
called
I can do it.
him. I called him and talked to him, and he was gonna have Megan come down,
Okay.
but I don't see her, so I don't know.
Well, the email there almost says to me that he is gonna have it, because he says it's not him.
Yeah, depends. Do you want to present or you want me to?
I can present them both. That's fine.
Okay. We're going to go ahead with the proposed zoning map change. And if you want to present that, or if you want me to, we've got two items on there.
Correct. So the first item
Would be the Becker Family Farms LLC at 352 West, 450 North. They're requesting for the zoning of their
Rick, would you close that door, please?
80.2 acres to be changed from R1, which is single-family residence, to A, agricultural. Land is located in Section 9 of Washington Township and is shown on the attached maps, which I'm reading off of the certification of recommendation by the Plan Commission. The Plan Commission entered a due pass recommendation with a vote of 5-0.
Okay. All right. Any questions or discussions on that? If not, I entertain a motion to approve that zoning map change as recommended.
Make a motion, we approve that zoning map change.
Second.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
The second one would be the proposed rezone filed by KESL Farms and/or Greg Fleming. They're requesting the zoning of Lot 1 of Whole Ridge Estates be changed from A agricultural to R1 single family residence. The land is located in section 18 of Root Township. Again, the Adams County Plan Commission moved with a no recommendation of a vote of 5-0. This means the Plan Commission was not able to achieve a minimum of 5 votes for a recommendation of approval or denial for rezoning. It is being forwarded to the Board of Commissioners with no recommendation whatsoever.
Okay. At this time, it looks like we've got some people in the room that would be able to address this proposal. And Greg, I don't know if you would like to speak to this proposal. I know you brought it before the Plan Commission 3 times, and so now it's come to us with a no recommendation. And so, you know, we've seen it, we've studied it, we've seen the revisions that you've made to accommodate their concerns. So I guess I'd invite you to speak to it however you'd like to. So,
Well, like I said, I think I've made quite a bit of accommodations to try to make it the best use of the land for out there in that, and it's using about 20 acres of the 145 acres of the farm that I bought. It has sewer capacity. It's linear zoning if you approve it. It's in line with the other houses just on the other side of the road. It's an extension.
well, and I
There
know,
isn't any development's going to go behind them because it's floodplain that goes down to the St. Mary's River. So I don't know if you guys had any questions, but I think everything.
I know some of the concerns that were originally voiced were the multiple driveways coming out onto Winchester Road. And I think you've consolidated those driveways for the total of the 8 lots or 9 lots into 2 driveways that actually enter Winchester Road.
So you'll be a combined driveway with 2 lots. So there'll be actually 4 entrances
4 entrances.
there on
Okay.
the east side.
And then as far as the sewer capacity, I think we've determined that when that line was put in, the extension from pre-stress to where it is now, there would be enough capacity for that line to accommodate.
Yeah, we have a letter from Ben Adams, the engineer for the sewer district that states that they have that capacity, no problem.
Okay. So, all right. And I know we've got some people in the audience, and I don't know who all would like to speak to this or not speak to this. So I guess at this point, if there's any discussion, I would be open to discussion to speak to this proposal, and you're welcome to either stay up here or otherwise. But I guess for the sake of time, I would like to limit the speakers if you'd like to come up, give your name and address, and just kind of limit it to 2 minutes if there's anybody that would like to speak to it. You'd sure be welcome to. For approval of the submission or otherwise, so. Because I know we've been party to some of the letters that the Plan Commission has seen. You know, we've kind of expressed our opinion in the form of letters to the Plan Commission. And so we've got the chairman of the Plan Commission here. I hate to call you out, but if you've got any comments on you know, you'd sure be welcome to. So.
No, I just showed up here.
Okay, so, but yeah, we'd sure be open to public comment at this time, if you'd like. So. Okay, if not, I'll leave it up to this body if we'd like to take action on it today, or how you want to address it, or if you'd like to speak to it. You'd certainly be welcome to speak to the submissions that we've seen and the recommendations that have come to us as commissioners.
I do feel like Greg's done a good job of trying to accommodate and work within the Plan Commission and within our ordinances and even the comprehensive land use plan. From my observation out there, and Stan, you live right out there, I'm not telling you anything, but it looks to me like especially the lots along the north side there as Winchester Road runs, is just kind of an extension of all of the residential development that's happened out there along Winchester Road. Just so happens it happened prior to the current land use ordinance, so didn't have to have their R1 designation to build those homes. So I think it feels to me like those 8 lots anyway is just kind of an extension of what's been going on that road. And I know from my time on the Plan Commission, we were always cautious about things that appeared to be out of place and not consistent with the current land use. And again, driving down that road, it's hard to say that some additional building lots on that road is not in accordance with the current use of what's going on out there. I know that road is heavily traveled and could use some improvement. And I think that's kind of on us to look at that and see what needs to be done or what we can be done to make that a safer road. The concern I have is the ground, the balance of the farm that is not the 20 acres that Greg referred to. And I know that there's some, the part that is still in this lot 1 that is south of Winchester Road. I am concerned that not be further developed and further subdivided and more homes be built over there. And one of the things that I've talked with Greg about is whether he would be willing, if we would pass this, if he would be willing to go back to the Plan Commission, request that ground, or at least the bulk of that ground, maybe not including lot 10, which is the little triangle lot there at the corner, but that the bulk of that ground would be rezoned back to agriculture, so that then it would be back under the purview of what can be developed inside of an agriculturally zoned lot. So that's some discussion that I've had and some thoughts. I know I've read, we've heard the commentary and the discussion and read from the interested parties in the newspaper, a lot of discussion about this, and I certainly appreciate that. And my opinion has formed as I've read and heard that feedback, and so I think it's important that we not only respect the landowner's rights, but that we respect the rights of those living out in that area, and respect the opinion and the thoughts of our Plan Commission. So those are kind of my thoughts on it.
Very good. Steve, you sit on the Plan Commission. I guess I'd like to hear your thoughts.
My main concern was, like Steve brought up, was that remaining ground out of the 20 acres. Because I know his daughters are building homes there and he split it up for his daughters, but that doesn't mean 20 years down the road, if we put this into residential, that a major subdivision couldn't be put in there. And that was my only concern. For the lots there along Winchester Road, I felt like that was appropriate for what Winchester Road is. And this all leads back to, I think it was in 2019 or 2020 when they brought up the new ordinance for in breaking up residential and ground and everything else. And there should be kind of something in there, I feel, that needs to be broke up, so you can only break a property up in three ways. And there needs to be a provision in there on an exception like this. And it's just like Pat Hess said, it was gonna catch us and it caught us on this, and you see what it's caused. Think that the section here on Winchester Road, the 9 lots or the 8 lots, 9 lots, 10 lots, but my main concern was lot 11 and 14.
Okay.
Clayton, are you, from the attorney's perspective, do you think we're in a position where we can go ahead and take action on this today? Or do you think there's some reason that we should defer?
No, I mean, based on the discussions you guys have already had today, if you guys are ready and willing to make a decision today, I think you guys have already outlined, at least in discussion, your thoughts. So if you guys are ready to make a decision, that's perfectly fine.
Ready for a motion, Stan, or do you want to, we haven't heard from you yet. I guess that's,
I've got an opinion letter that I wrote. We've, basically, we've seen this come to the Plan Commission 3 times. And the Plan Commission initially was opposed on a 6-1 vote. And since then, a couple of the Plan Commission members have reconsidered. And the last attendance did not satisfy a full vote. So it comes to us on a no recommendation. So I'm just going to read part of my letter here. As this recommendation comes to me as a commissioner, I seriously consider the implications of this rezoning decision. I believe that the individual landowner rights are paramount to land ownership in Adams County, that these rights should be supported and only infringed through ordinance and zoning based on serious adverse effects on the general good. I feel like this rezoning meets the conditions of the current ordinances that we have. I believe that Adams County zoning ordinances primarily govern the general good as it pertains to land use. These ordinances are based in a large part on the Adams County Land Use Plan. These ordinances have been adopted by the Plan Commission and the Board of Commissioners. When this land use plan was last updated, there were no public utilities such as sewer available outside of urban areas. I have encouraged the development of public sewer in Adams County by supporting the Adams County Regional Sewer District for several reasons. One being to remove failed or failing septic systems from polluting public tile, streams, and rivers, while still providing robust and appropriate handling of septage. Another reason that I support public sewer is to encourage appropriate development. The sewer extension just completed from Pre-Stress North takes in almost 60 existing properties that were previously on private systems. I believe that there is a fear of random overdevelopment in rural areas. I do not see this as a realistic fear, as subdivisions with multiple housing plots are only allowed where public sewer is available at the property. I believe this decision sets a precedence as to how rural development of any kind will be approached in the future. If this is denied, then landowners will be discouraged from thoughts of any type of rural residential development. I believe that rural development is appropriately controlled by the current ordinances that are in place. There is a need for additional housing in Adams County. Northern and northwestern Adams County is a very desirable location for high-end housing. Winchester Road is a main corridor from Decatur and Adams County to Allen County. There has been, and I believe will continue to be, development along this corridor. There are multiple examples of housing development along Winchester Road. One of the closest examples is the farmstead immediately adjacent to the northwest of this proposal that has added house after house after house to their farm, along with individual driveways and without the oversight of the Plan Commission and without public sewer. I disagree that this proposal represents spot zoning. I consider this as linear zoning along a popular corridor road that shows regular development from Decatur. I believe this proposal acknowledges all the concerns of the Plan Commission and neighbors as they have been expressed. The number of drives has been reduced. There is public sewer available with adequate capacity, and this proposal does not infringe negatively on the surrounding land or landowners. This plat would remove approximately 20 acres of a 145-acre farm from crop production. I appreciate the discussion and research that has been put into this by appointed Plan Commission members. I believe this proposal is a responsible, organized, and positive development that accommodates individual landowner rights without adequate reason to deny. So that's an opinion level that I. So at this point, if you gentlemen want to take action today, I would accept a motion. If not, if you want to defer action today, then that's up to you also. So.
I feel like we've talked about it enough. I think I'm ready to move on.
Make a motion to accept the proposal.
Second.
Okay, I'd vote in favor of that also.
If I could make one comment, I guess
Certainly.
I would request that Greg or the corporation go back and that land south of Winchester Road, that he go back and ask the Plan Commission to look at rezoning that back to agriculture. I think that, and one of the things that would be an impediment to a 50 or 100 housing addition out there is that the sewer system, the sewer lines won't accommodate that. So I think we are insulated against that, and I don't think that's really going to happen. But I know that the owner is willing to do that, and that would just be a little bit of an appeasement. I think that the bulk of that ground would remain agriculture or be placed back in agriculture. We would get the housing development that we sorely need in Adams County. We would get the new homes, but that we would also get protection from that ground, that at least it would have to come back again and be rezoned back to R1 for additional subdivides to take place with that. We would get the lots that Greg needs in order to do the estate planning he needs, but it would be protected against further subdivision. So that would be just a request that I would ask of the owner, and it's not part of the motion. That motion is passed, but that's just what I would request, is that he would consider and the Plan Commission would look at moving that back to agriculture.
Greg, did you want to speak to that?
I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that. My daughters are wanting it to remain farm ground, but because of your ordinance, we're trying to subdivide it and also for estate planning.
True.
And so for it to remain agricultural, it would be fine. We can rezone it afterward, we can approve it,
Okay.
get the plat approved as is, and then come back and then rezone the other two, the two lots, because my other daughter's on the middle one. I don't remember what, this is 12, I think,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
I have no problem doing that.
Thanks.
All right. All right, well, if there's nobody else to speak to that action, then motion carries. 3-0. All right. Rick, did you have anything for us?
Really quick, gentlemen. As of this morning, confirmation, everything's a go for the generator.
Cool.
So just wanted to let you guys know.
You got a date then?
Pardon?
Do you have a date?
Thursday's Thursday, right?
At 8
In the morning.
Thursday.
You like selling tickets or anything? We have to pay admission to come watch?
Keep people waiting.
Yeah.
Crane, Steve, ride the crane.
Crane.
Anywhere, I
Rise
Steve,
crane.
between 7 and 8 a.m. in the morning. 7 and 9, I had to give the trucking company 2 hour.
Okay.
So spoke to them this morning. Should be on its way tomorrow. I just want to let you know.
And you've got the road control all taken care of, and
They're gonna be setting, they're bringing barricades in tomorrow evening. And then
cool.
I'll be in here early to get all that up.
Okay. Thanks, Rick. Finally.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rick. Shannon, did you have anything for us? Okay.
No.
You didn't have anything else?
I don't have anything further, no.
Okay. All right. Anything else from the general public?
Yes, I would like a copy of your opinion letter, please, if it's possible.
I presented it to the Plan Commission. So
So I can go ahead with that.
it's up to the Plan Commission, yeah.
I assume that you were referring to me when you said place Northwest.
Yeah.
Do
Do you understand the term slander, Stan? Because I don't understand your accusation.
It's not an accusation. It's what actually happened. I mean, from the original farmstead, there was another house built directly west of there. And then there was another property that I assume was sold off of the farmstead where there was another home built. And then you built your house across Winchester Road.
How is that illegal, Stan?
It was not illegal in any way.
But the way you presented it, you presented
Well-
I did something wrong.
No, I presented it as
Very
an,
much slanderous.
I presented it as an example of other development that's happened on Winchester Road.
It was done in hatred to me for some reason. It's a personal vendetta. I don't understand it, but once again, it was slander.
I'm gonna stop you.
Yeah.
What is the legal standard of slander? Do you have it?
I think he attempted to back no.
Well, again, but if you're going to keep using in a public meeting the legal term slander, I would ask you to define it for everybody in the room.
And Clayton, you know the definition.
Correct.
I didn't come here prepared.
Well, and slander in its own, and it would be something untruthful. Is anything that he stated related to your property untruthful?
And that's why I brought this up. I would like to know what it is that I did wrong.
Again, I don't think there was any
Yeah.
statement of wrongdoing. He was just stating facts.
But it certainly sounded like it to me like I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You know, you used this as an example, and I don't understand it.
I used it as an example of other development on Winchester Road. That's what I used it as an example.
There was no bitterness to that.
It was, I mean, from what I understand, the original farmstead, and then your mom and dad built the house right next to it, correct?
That is correct.
And
1958,
then-
I'm sure
And
I
then,
think everything was,
and then that corner lot was sold off and there was a house built there.
and I can't do a thing about that.
No, and I don't think you need to. And then you built your house across the road.
In 1981.
Yeah, so that's all I said was there was additional development off of your farmstead, so. So-
Each time it was done. to-
Yeah,
You
So-
know what, I don't know what more I was supposed to do, but you brought that up once again. You know, I heard that during the planning commission meeting, and I thought, no, I had to misunderstood that. But yet you made a point to repeat it again today. And so I just feel like I've been notified or something that I don't know I'm being notified.
well, I feel bad that you feel that way, but the intention was to show additional development, just the same way I talked about the 60 homes that were taken in by the sewer district on that extension from pre-stress to our woods. I use that as an example of development on Winchester Road. So the development from your farm, I used as an example to show additional development on Winchester Road.
I hope indeed that's why you did it.
So,
That's why you did it. I don't know that I'm real comfortable with that. Once again, if we did something wrong in the past, since 1845, it's been in the family. If we've done something wrong, please bring it to my attention because I'd like to correct it. I don't know where we've done a thing wrong other than moved on from generation to generation to generation. I don't see where I have anything to be ashamed of, and I just am once again disappointed that feel like you used it for that goal.
well, I think I've explained why I used it. I'm sorry you feel that it was in a negative light. I used it to show the other development on Winchester Road as an example of why this was not inappropriate for the proposal that KESL Farms presented. You know, in perspective, you know, it was additional development along Winchester Road as appropriate to what has already happened.
One thing I'd like to add is you offered an apology. I accept your apology. So thank you for your time, everyone.
So,
Ready for motion to adjourn, Stan?
All right,
I'll make it.
Second.
all right, meeting adjourned.